Well, let's do a jellyfish update. I put this out about 24 days ago and it's been raining quite nicely. So let's just take a look. Yes, there is moisture inside. And since this cap here doesn't have a ring seal on it, there's water coming in that way, and there might even be water wicking down these and into there, which goes into there, which then pours out here. Now they do have, okay, that water actually was just trapped, I think, right in here, because they do actually have two holes here for it to drain out. So, not bad that way, but there's obviously water getting into here. So I think, oops, had to adjust the camera. Couldn't get this thing underneath it. So if you look in there, what it is they've got this LED raised inside a plastic container. Then there's two drain holes down below. There, you can see them there. To hopefully mitigate water getting into the tube. But that didn't look like it happened. Of course, the tube is open at the other end also, so maybe the idea is that it would drain down and out. But when you've had 24 days where almost each day it's rained, well, but it still works. So I'm going to have to turn off some lights here. It turns on. But, okay, you can see it coming out there. And it's got a color changing LED. But I was kind of wondering if you take one of these and maybe apply a bit of heat to it. Let me get my iron turned on. So what I want to do is take my soldering iron and just melt the tips of one of these and see if you would actually get more of an effect. It seems it might diffuse a bit more towards the sides, but yeah, I don't think there's enough to justify trying to modify them. There you go. So I think it does increase the visibility from the side, but not much. These things aren't even close to what the advertised photos look like. I'll put in the corner there what I paid for it and where I got it. And then I'll put in the lower corner there what the current special price is. And since this is before Christmas, that special price is in their favor. So let's look at the board now. So let's take a look at what's on the inside of this. If I had my screwdriver handy. Okay. There we go. Let's see if any water pours out of this part. There's one. And number two. Okay, actually that's a better way to put it. And there we go. There's the entire circuit. And right off the bat, I would say it just looks like your standard garden solar light. But we'll take a closer look. What type of battery do we have on this one? Nickel metal hydride. That's good. And okay, just have to pull that out. Notice that there actually isn't any water in here. Oh, yes there is. It was accumulated down there. So I'll just show you what the board looks like on that side. That's not a resistor, that's an inductor. Flip it over. And there it is on the other side. And I'll get closer in a moment, but I'll do up the schematic first. It's probably not going to be any different from any of the other ones. With everything hooked up, it's drawing roughly 2.6 volts. With all the LEDs on. The LEDs are in parallel. I'll put a close-up in the corner there of one of them, but they're all the same. So now on to the schematic. So here's my first draft of the schematic. And of course, a much prettier one. This is just straight standard. If you go to the spec sheet on the QX5252, it's almost identical circuit. Now, you got your solar cell on this side. If there's sunlight out, it's applying power to here. And essentially, this is always going to be turned on, hopefully. And this battery will start charging. So around it goes, this charges up. But when the light drops down a bit, then the control part of this takes over, and it starts pulsing this pin here, pin 4. So the inductor goes on, off, which will generate alternating plus minus. On the plus part, essentially, you got 1.2 volts plus whatever this generated. It goes through this diode. I'm not sure that's a 618. And it charges the capacitor. At this point then, it's connected also to all 6 LEDs. But what's important is one of them is a 2-pin RGB color changing. That has a built-in chip right on the LED, well, in the LED, and that needs constant voltage. If you bring this down, say you were cycling this at a 50 hertz, which it isn't, this would keep turning off the RGB one, and it would actually just be stuck on one color. So you do need to have a capacitor in there to make sure that this thing always has some voltage on it so that it can do its thing and change color. As I said, this is almost straight from the spec sheet. For the inductor, they've got a brown, a green, a brown, and a silver, which is 1.5 times 10, 150 microhenries. And the silver indicates it's a 10%. Ooh, lots of precision there. So, this thing, is it worth the money? If you're buying them at $4.49, I'd say yes. If you're paying that other price, I would say no, or at least questionable. And if you paid the full price, around $29.97, I've got a bridge that I can sell you. It's a beautiful bridge. One thing, though, I think is going to be interesting is this is pretty well acting like a fiber optic cable or light path or whatever you want to call those things. And if you had any projects where you wanted to send light from one point way over to another point, this probably isn't a bad deal for picking up these. And even for other projects that you might want to add some little short little lights going in, that might be a very good source for it. I wonder if fishing line would work. Maybe try that out someday. So this was kind of just a short one. I'm going to reassemble this and stick it back outside. So have a good time. Bye.